Whether you break out your blender to mix the occasional margarita, or a daily smoothie, and the smoothies didn't even come out all that, well, smooth, it's time for an upgrade. The best blenders can grind up the heartiest produce in smoothies, make nut milk, blend velvety soups, turn granulated sugar into powdered and much more. We put several through a series of tests to find out which ones make the smoothest smoothies, the silkiest homemade mayo, the slushiest frozen drinks and more. Blenders can be great accessories in any Canadian kitchen. They can be used for a variety of functions, from making smoothies to blending soups, sauces, and more. Many blenders on the Canadian market come with a host of accessories to help you achieve any result you want. When it comes to food preparation, blenders are essential. However, there are so many options that choosing the right one may become overwhelming. To help with this, we have compiled a selection of the best blenders in Canada of 2024 in this video. After hours of in-depth research, we discovered all the contenders and now offer them to you. Let's take a look at what the best blenders can bring to your kitchen. Number 1. Ninja Nutri Pro Compact Personal Blender. The Ninja Nutri Pro Blender is a compact, fast, and portable blender ideal for those short on kitchen space and time. This was our first time using a personal blender. As devoted everyday users of a high-speed standard blender, we were skeptical as to how the Ninja Nutri could possibly compare. We've heard stories of personal blenders leaking and lacking the necessary power to properly blend through frozen fruits and ice cubes, but the Ninja Nutri put those rumors to rest with the first smoothie we made. We found the Ninja Nutri performs at its best when liquids are involved. We wouldn't recommend using it for chopping veggies as it tended to create uneven pieces. The manufacturer instructs to press down and blend in short intervals. We found most things were pretty thoroughly processed in 10 seconds or less. Since the Ninja Nutri has only one speed to work with, different jobs will take different amounts of time to process. That said, thicker recipes with minimal liquid, like hummus, took a little longer but not by much. A cup of ice was crushed to fluffy snow-like consistency in under 10 seconds without any added liquid. That should give you an idea of how well the Ninja Nutri can handle frozen fruit for smoothies and desserts. Although it's fast, the Ninja Nutri doesn't produce the smoothest blends in the world. Blending past the 30-second mark seemed to result in just stirring the ingredients rather than further chopping them, which may explain why the recipes we made with the Ninja seemed more textured compared to other personal blenders. This is great for, say, salsa, but less desirable for smoothies containing fibrous fruits or vegetables. Don't get us wrong, though, we've seen chunkier textured smoothies out of standard countertop blenders. As regular smoothie drinkers, we're used to the super smooth consistency created by our high-end, high-speed blender, but the little extra grittiness in texture was drinkable and didn't bother us too much. The ease of use, speed, and grab-and-go factor made up for it. Overall, the Ninja Nutri does an excellent job processing frozen berries, soft fruits, and leafy greens like spinach. We will note it didn't handle berry seeds very well, not a deal-breaker, but strawberries and raspberries left behind crunchy seed bits in our smoothie. Luckily, powders, like ground flax seed and whey protein, were easily incorporated into liquids without residue left behind. Number 2. NutriBullet Pro 900 Series Nutrient Extractor, Blender and Mixer. The NutriBullet Pro 900 is mediocre for multi-purpose use. Like most personal blenders, it can't hot blend and has a limited capacity, which limits its versatility. It's also not meant for crushing ice. That said, it easily blends ingredients like leafy greens into a silky smooth puree. It's also an excellent choice for smaller batches of recipes like nut butter, hummus, or other dips and spreads. It's decently well built and easy to clean. Not all of its components are dishwasher safe, however. It's fantastic for small batches of fibrous ingredients. It doesn't take long to make a virtually perfectly smooth puree with fibrous ingredients like kale, which is ideal for recipes like single-serve fruit smoothies. The NutriBullet Pro is incredible for blending fibrous ingredients at full capacity. It takes longer to process a bigger batch compared to a smaller one, but easily liquefies ingredients like kale, and produces a puree with no bits or grains left over. It's excellent for nut butter. It makes a smooth, spreadable butter with no chunks left over, and without a lot of effort on your part. It takes around 3 minutes of blending, with a few stops to undock and shake the jar to ensure all ingredients are in contact with the blades. It isn't intended for crushing ice without liquid in the jar, according to its manual. If you want a personal blender that can crush ice, consider the MyBlend or the Nutri Ninja Pro instead. The NutriBullet Pro 900 series blender is one of the best I've tried when it comes to making drinks such as smoothies and shakes. It is very good at chopping through ice, and can take on even tough stems and frozen fruits to make smooth and fruity drinks. What it is less good at is blending and chopping more solid ingredients, but for a blender capable of this you will have to spend a lot more money. For the price, you will struggle to buy a more powerful and effective blender. Number 3. Blendtec Professional 800 Blender. Just as you see baristas at smoothie shops, simply touch a button on the blender and walk away, the Professional 800 is built as such. In fact, Blendtec's claim to fame has been about touch-and-go blending. The capacitive touch screen on the Professional 800 greatly mimics the experience of your smartphone. For smoothies, simply touch the smoothie preset. Tap the pulse control to break down ingredients, and when you're done blending simply touch the power icon, and the screen completely shuts off, save for the power icon. The Professional 800 has 6 presets for batters, mixed drinks, smoothies, frozen treats, whole juice, hot soup and pulse. There is also an 11-speed slider control that resembles the one shown on the Blendtec 725 above. Blendtec's top-of-the-line Professional 800 is super quiet, thanks to a sealed sound enclosure that keeps noise to a minimum. Powerful blending and a unique 5-sided jar make quick work of everything from smoothies, juices and margaritas to hot soups, sauces and batters. It's also ideal for frozen treats, like ice cream. Number 4. Hamilton Beach 58148 Blender to puree, crush ice, and make shakes and smoothies. While the Hamilton Beach 58148A might not have come close to claiming the top spot overall, it delivered solid results when you take its very low price tag into account, particularly if you don't expect too much. It delivered above-average results when making smoothies or other blended beverages, all while being decently easy to operate. It even had a decent showing when it came to making nut butter and blender soups. For those on the tightest of budgets, we think this appliance is the perfect option for a compact blender that can handle basic tasks. For our first set of blender tests, we made 3 different smoothies and a malt using the same recipe. We awarded points based on the quality of the finished drink, with our judges taking both taste and texture into account. The Hamilton Beach 58148A performed quite well, earning an above-average score. This blender did exceptionally well with the Oreo malt, producing a great drink after only a minute of blending. The texture wasn't quite as smooth as the top models, but our judges scored it highly for taste, and the ingredients were well incorporated. However, we had to give it a touch of assistance to get started, and also loosen some wedged cookies partway through blending. The fruit and green smoothies made up the bulk of the smoothie score. This blender's performance dropped overall, but it still did better than average. It took a little over a minute to successfully blend the green smoothie. It managed to fully incorporate all of the ingredients, but the texture wasn't the best. The Hamilton Beach 58148A couldn't quite pulverize the kale, leading to a rather chunky texture and a smoothie with tons of pulp and kale flakes. The Hamilton Beach 58148A performed similarly with our berry smoothie. This higher viscosity mixture needed some assistance towards the end, and this blender was struggling a bit, with an accompanying smell, but it eventually incorporated all of the ingredients. However, it again left plenty of smaller pieces of berry skin unblended and couldn't break down the seeds, resulting in a much grainier overall texture. This blender struggled the most with our fruit and oat smoothie, a recipe with no liquid. We had to shake the blender pitcher multiple times to get it going, and it took a full 90 seconds before it was even close to being acceptably blended. Even then, it was still very grainy and had unincorporated oats at the end, but we would consider it a successful smoothie. Number 5. Vitamix A3500 Ascent Series Smart Blender. Because of how expensive it is, the Vitamix A3500 Ascent Series Smart Blender may not be necessary for the occasional milkshake aficionado. but we were suitably impressed with its many functions that went well beyond basic blending. The Vitamix has a reputation for being the gold standard in blenders. It can handle basic kitchen tasks, so we weren't surprised when our chocolate banana smoothie was perfectly blended. We also weren't surprised at the perfectly emulsified mayonnaise. We loved that we could add ice to blended drinks, and end up with something that didn't have shards of chunky ice, and instead had a perfect slushy texture. That was just the beginning. Like other Vitamix blenders, the blades of the A3500 spin so fast that they can heat the food until it steams, and cooks when the blender runs long enough. We tossed ingredients for tomato soup into the blender jar, and in under 7 minutes, we were able to pour it, steaming hot, into a bowl. We also experimented with the heating capability, when we made chocolate pudding that cooked and thickened in less time than it would have taken on the stove, and it was smooth and lump-free. When we used the blender to mix a cheesecake batter that we usually make in a food processor, we got a slightly airier texture, but it was still delicious when baked. That airiness was just what we wanted when we made a small batch of whipped cream. We also liked adding flavors to cream cheese, whipping it to create a fluffier, spreadable version that was easy to smear on bagels and crackers. The pulse button came in handy for potato pancakes. First, we blended the egg, flour, onion, and some potato until it was almost smooth. Then, we added the rest of the potato, and pulsed to get the texture of shredded potatoes without the work. Although it seems like an odd use of a blender, this beast of a machine has the power to knead dough. Our dough came together in record time, and emerged from the appliance, slightly warm and ready to rise.